All right, so this week, the Call in the Ring segment. This is our very last episode for this season for the year. Again, we're going to take the next 2 weeks off to celebrate the holidays with our families, and then come back first week next year, 2025, with brand new content. Hopefully, with some brand new tech too. That'd be nice. Hopefully, this is this this is me willing it into the universe, so I don't have to spend my own money. Uh, but that being said, we thought it would be fitting to do some predictions. I know it's kind of cliche, but you know, there's room for cliche. Things are cliche because they work. That's,
True.
I mean, that works. So uh, each of us is going to come up with three predictions for 2025, something that'll happen in the next 365 days, starting with January 1st. So, uh, that out of the way, Aaron, what do you think is something that's going to happen in the world of wrestling? It doesn't have to be in WWE, it doesn't have to be in AEW, it doesn't have to be anywhere but in the general sphere of professional wrestling.
Well, there's a lot of easy ones. Um, there's a lot of like was it's like, oh well, this might happen, but that's pretty likely. Let's go with this. Okay. In 2025, during his farewell tour, John Cena's career will come full circle and he will be the WWE United States champion at least one more time.
The United States champion.
Yes, and it
So
might
you
even be with
decided,
a spinner belt.
so you think that he's, instead of winning the 17th world title, and instead of completing the Grand Slam by winning the Intercontinental title, which he's never won, you think
Yes.
he's gonna go one more time for the U.S. title? That is an interesting prediction.
Yeah, I think so. And the reason I say that is simply because The Rock is involved in WWE and going into WrestleMania, and I don't think that John Cena is going to feature in the world title picture in a way like The Rock will. As much as I want to see him have that 17th title reign and break that record so that we can stop listening to people talk about 16-time world champion Ric Flair, and maybe move on to 17-time world champion John Cena. As much as I would like him to, finish his Grand Slam, I don't see a way they work that out from it being around or it being around Braun Breaker's waist and then going to Cena's. Nakamura having the U.S. title is an easier, like, get that off him onto somebody else, and then maybe that person pays a Cena. Like, maybe back to L.A. Knight. I would love to see John Cena and L.A. Knight go at it. Although it would be a bit of a face versus face dynamic. I'd still like to see it. Um, I'm not sure how it happens. I just feel like with maybe the nostalgia factors at play right now, but I think maybe John Cena wins another U.S. title before he hangs it up.
I mean, it would be appropriate for him. I think people really started turning around on their opinions of John Cena when he went back down and started doing the open challenge stuff too.
Mm,
I think that was kind of the. I mean, he tried to. He had more of a mid card match style, which was more work rate oriented. He tried putting new stuff in his repertoire. He was having great matches with people who would never have sniffed the main event if he had the title. And I
mm.
think that really won a lot of people over that had been virulently anti Cena for well on a decade.
Mm.
So there is a sense of poetry there if he winds up back with that belt around his waist one more time. So there, I'm neurotic. Like if it was me, I would be like, well, you either do the world title thing, and I would lean towards that simply, like you said, to get Ric Flair out of the conversation. Even though technically speaking, it's not 16 and it's closer to like 22. But
It's
like
like
that's, I mean,
25,
there are lots
but
of phantom title changes in Mexico and Japan to consider.
mhm.
But or not Mexico, Puerto Rico rather. Sorry. There were riots that were averted because you dropped the belts. That was not planned. Uh, not initially, anyway. You know, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely worth there from a storytelling, thematic, and a symmetrical point of view.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of dig that. I kind of dig that. The good thing is that you've got options.
Hmm.
I mean, the fact that we're even bringing up all three of those possible championships is proof enough that there's you've got options with them. So,
Well,
I mean,
here's what I think would be super funny. Okay, and here's how I would book it. All right.
okay.
Shinsuke Nakamura loses that. I think he should have it for a while. I would like the title to be built a little bit more seriously, even though we're going to end this in a comedy thing, kind of. I would like Shinsuke to have it, but I would also like him to lose it. Okay, I would like Shinsuke to have it, and while he has it, at some point, I would like John Cena to return to a Raw. I'm sure he's going to be on the first Raw of the year, so we could start it right here.
Yeah.
But I want Shinsuke to have the title, and then I want John Cena to interact at Raw with Austin Theory.
Again, we've been down this road.
I know we have, and here's why. This is that full circle thing I keep talking about. We're bringing it back like a good comedian. Uh, so I want him to interact with Austin Theory and Austin Theory to be a douchebag to him. And I want that to continue basically until they say, all right, you know what? You've been a dick. I beat your ass in like 17 seconds at WrestleMania before. I'm going to do it again. My very
Well,
last
he lost to
WrestleMania.
Theory
Okay. Yeah, he did. Okay. So, okay.
in a very boring match
Yeah.
from all accounts.
Okay. You're responsible for my worst WrestleMania match ever. I want to get that back. So we're gonna have a match at WrestleMania. But then somewhere on the point, I want like Austin Theory to get a fluke win over Shinsuke and get the U.S. title. And then I mean, let's make it the Friday night before the first night of WrestleMania. That way, Austin Theory can be like, "I'm the new U.S. champion," then immediately lose it to John Cena.
So how do you take care of Shin? Because he doesn't deserve to be let off the
Make him take
WrestleMania for
that.
this.
Give him. He gets that L, and
Oh, you know what?
Shinsuke's his
Oh,
way into the IC title match.
no, 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 no. Perfect, perfect win. WrestleMania is 2 nights now.
Mm-hmm.
Have him win it, and have him on the next night open the show with a U.S. title open challenge.
And lose
And
to
in comes
Shinsuke.
Shinsuke. Oh, I mean, he doesn't have to lose it to him, but give him,
A
put him
rematch
on
or
the
something.
card.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve to not be on the card.
Mm-hmm.
He was U.S. champion up until that Friday. So,
Yeah. But something like
yeah, and
that, where
then,
like Austin Theory gets
yeah,
it back and maybe immediately loses it to John. Maybe even that same, like maybe even a same day thing. Like Austin Theory's been being a dickbag to Shinsuke, and he gets one over on him, and then Adam Pearce or
Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis is like, no, no, that's some bullshit. You know what? You want to pull this shit on my WrestleMania? No, no, no. You're gonna face this guy, and then you know, and then he immediately loses like 15-second squash match. You can't see me. There we go. And that's what you get for beating me at WrestleMania ever. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like that
No,
just,
I
I mean,
dig that. I dig
something,
that.
something like that. So yeah, there's my first prediction. John Cena will win. My prediction is actually he will win a title in 2025, but like if I want to hone it in, he will probably win the US title at one point in 2025.
All right. Well, my first prediction is going to be that there will finally be, after most of this year, teasing the possibility but never delivering on it, there will be a woman on the AEW roster that will have won in their career there the Women's World Championship and the TBS Championship. And that woman is going to be Willow Nightingale.
God, I hope so. Man, I hope
She,
so.
I, I don't care if it waits all the way till World's End. It's gonna happen. It needs to happen. The woman is so over. Everybody loves Willow. Not a single person that I've ever seen has anything ever bad to say about her, about how she works, about her character, about anything. anything. She's the one. I mean, if I were booking, I would book her to go full circle and be the one to dethrone Mercedes at probably Double or Nothing for the TBS title one more time, and then at some point drop the belt and then win the world title. Probably, for being honest, probably off a still babyface Tony Storm. If I had to
Okay.
guess, and if I were after booking, I think that's probably. I mean, the best way that you can give her a rub is to do it that way.
Okay.
So yeah, they've teased a bunch. They've teased it with Sheeta. They've teased it with Statlander. They've teased it with a couple of other women, where Britt. Uh,
Mm,
that okay, somebody's going to be the first woman to win both, to have won both belts. But who's it
yeah.
going to be? And I think it's not from going to the top of the card to the lesser title. I think it goes the other way around, like it should. And I think it's Will Nightingale who manages to finally pull it off.
Oh
She
yeah.
redeems her. I don't want to say redeems herself because it wasn't her fault, but redeems herself for having such a short TBS title reign to begin with by getting it again and having a good 4 or 5 month reign before dropping it to maybe Julia Hart and
Mm,
then um, or maybe Jamie Hayter, and then oh no, it wouldn't be Jamie Hayter, couldn't be Jamie Hayter, uh, but not for this scenario. But then win it from Tony Storm, or she could win it from Hayter. Actually, she could win the world title from Hayter.
yeah.
I mean, they've been kind of trying to figure ways around giving Hayter something to do without putting her in the world title scene, which is why they're giving her Julia Hart.
Mm,
So I don't know. I think it's Willow, and I think it deserves to be Willow.
okay. Yeah, I think so too, actually, and I think it should be. I
I
stand
want the
Willow hard,
world for
so
that woman.
she can win everything for all. She can go around being Willow two belts for all I give a shit. Let's
Yeah,
go. You know.
yeah,
So yeah, Willow. Yeah, I think she deserves it. I think that's a pretty solid call because I think that's gonna happen at
yeah.
some point. Um, man, I kind of want to go Wilder.
Okay, go
Okay.
Wilder.
All right, I will. I will. I think because I think it's possible in AEW. Yeah, I see that eyebrow go up. I think this is actually possible in AEW, so I want to see it happen.
Okay, all right.
Um, I would like Private Party to lose the tag team championships to Camille and Chris Statlander.
Ooh, that is interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Uh,
They've built both of these women up to be super
oh,
strong, strong enough to fight a man.
yeah.
And I would like to see them win them. I'd like to see at least one of these super talented women win a men's title. I don't think it's out of the question for it to happen. I think Tony Khan is apt to do something even wilder than WWE, letting China win the win the Intercontinental Championship. Um, I think that it's possible. I don't understand what they're gonna do with Camille now. I guess she's written off TV for the time being with the maybe it's a legit shoulder injury, which I've heard it is. So I don't know, but I believe that the two of them are strong enough and have been built to be hard enough hitters that I I don't I don't think I would bat an eye if they beat Private Party. But
Especially since they could probably use the situation to their advantage, being
yeah,
women and not being taken seriously
yeah,
because of the situation, and or Private Party not really being into the idea of having to be there in there with women because they
they
don't
don't
want
want
to
to
be
hit a
seen as
woman.
women beaters or whatever.
Yeah,
I could see it going a couple different ways from that.
Like I'm not
I,
gonna hit
I,
a woman and then Camille just slaps the shit out of him, you know? Like,
yeah.
like you kind of
I
got
mean,
it,
you got to
dog.
remember this company was founded by people who cut their teeth in PWG. Candice LeRae on a couple of occasions came very, very close to being PWG World Champion,
Hmm.
including what was the who was it? It was against was it Steen? Cole
Maybe.
maybe? There was one match she had where she was just a bloody freaking mess over it too, and I can't remember who her opponent was, but she was within a hair's breadth of winning that belt. So
Hmm.
there is precedent for the attitude that would allow for something like that to happen within the inner workings of AEW Creative.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would say that is a wild prediction. I don't necessarily see it happening, but if it did happen, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised that AEW would be the one doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
they're still kind of trying to get out of their funk from 2023, trying to kind of plug some leaks, trying to
Hmm.
win some people back. I mean, you could write it off as a publicity stunt if you wanted, but it would definitely be a way to get eyes on your product. Be like,
You could
what?
get eyes on
Really?
the product and then keep them there by making them a serious, a serious
Yeah,
defender of the title. Like, I mean, we could, yeah, I could name 5 or 6 teams off the top of my head that are part of the AEW tag division that mostly on the merit of the way they've been booked could easily
yeah,
fall to those two
yeah,
and make them legitimate defenders of the titles. And then maybe, I don't know how it comes off them.
yeah. I
Um,
don't know either.
but you know what? I do know how it comes off them actually. This is how we return to which God, I hate myself for saying this. But this is how we return to the Young Bucks having the tag team titles. Because they're
Oh
the only
yeah, you
people,
know what?
they're petty
Yeah,
enough but small
yeah.
enough, and people wouldn't be real surprised if they started beating up a couple of women. I mean,
No,
it's just
you're right. You're right. No,
there
it
it
would
is,
fit their
man.
heel characters so well too. Like it
Yeah, it
really
would fit
would.
their yeah, everything.
Oh
So there you
no,
go.
I mean more so than any other heel tag team even I can think of. I
Hmm.
mean, the exception maybe, although this is it's more likely that they would get fed to the ladies, but MXM Collection could probably pull it off too
Yeah, yeah. They're one of
because
the
of
teams
the
that I
way
was
their
going to mention
gimmick
would get fed
works.
to them, but that's
Yeah,
only because of that. Like I said, the merit of the way they've been booked.
merit of the way they've been booked and their gimmick.
Yeah.
They're so I mean, my, Mason Madden's a big dude. He
Hmm.
really is, but he's they're booked as a silly tag team that I
Hmm.
love that is leans heavily on pushing the buttons of people who still lean into toxic masculine stereotypes.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, no, no, no.
uh,
It gets better. It gets even better because we could totally have them beat the Outrunners. And then
ooh,
suddenly the Outrunners get a spin off into their story of do we even really have the stuff, bro?
yeah,
Because they are, I mean, they're not
yeah,
toxic guys, but that is
no,
obviously 80s style toxic masculinity. So
yeah,
they get beat by women. And
yeah,
then now we suddenly have an Outrunners who are prepped for a deeper story than what they're
yeah.
giving us. And
As
so
long as the
maybe we can
follow up is there,
expand.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways you could go with this, but it would definitely put eyes on the product. And then by making them a legitimate tag team who beats people who are coming after their titles, keeps eyes on the product, gives a lot of people what they want in that we want more women on the show. Tony Khan doesn't seem to understand a way to get more women on the show in a fashion that makes it, taken seriously.
yeah,
So fuck it, give some of the women who are amazing talents and in some cases are more talented than some of the men on the roster, give them a men's championship. Do not pull a WWE and give us women's tag team titles. Make the tag team titles open to all divisions.
I think the more we talk about it, the more I like the idea. What I think is probably more likely to happen is that, and this isn't a prediction, this is just dovetailing off of your idea. I think what's probably more likely is they split the difference and they have a woman be a part of a trio and win the trios belts. I think that's more likely.
Hmm.
Um, that said, why not both? Why not see how the audience reacts to the trio situation first? And if they react positively, pull the trigger on Stat and Camille. Find a way to put them together. Maybe their mutual hatred of Mercedes Monet. I don't know,
Perfect. That's
but
enough.
like, I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it kind of doesn't because
Hmm.
if they're bonded by their mutual hatred of her, then they need to be going after her. So why are they not? So
Maybe
maybe
she's
they're in it.
avoiding them. You
Maybe
know,
okay. How about we book this? Camille wants a shot. Statlander still wants a shot. Triple threat match for the TBS title with the stipulation that if neither one of them can beat Monet, they can't challenge for the TBS title as long as Monet holds it.
okay.
And then it spins off into this.
Hmm. They lose, but they still want a title. How
Yeah,
do they
they
get
lose,
one?
but they still want gold and they still want to prove that they're on that level.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
All right. I like it. I dig it. I'm going to make okay. I think that by the end of the year 2025, Ring of Honor will cease to be.
Oh God, that hurts.
It hurts me too. And the funny thing is that all signs point to them finding some kind of deal within the next couple of weeks to be on some channel
Hmm.
somewhere. But like it's not going to be one of the big channels. I mean, that's the only reason they put the Ring of Honor title back on Jericho is because anytime they need to do this, anytime they think they're close to signing some kind of big deal, they go back to the well with what put them on TV in the first place. And it worked.
Hmm.
It worked. When they bought Ring of Honor, they put the title on him because they had some offers that they were looking at, and it didn't work out then. They're trying that again now because of the people who would be willing to go in there. He does have the most name value. He does. Like
Yeah.
so they must feel like they're close to a deal. But having gone through this with TNA so many times, the whatever channel they wind up with is going to be some piddly no name channel that nobody gets. That's going to be in a slot that nobody's going to watch it in,
Yeah.
and they're
3 a.m.
going
on
to
Sinclair was hard, man.
yeah, it's going to be EC. It's going to be ECW on TNN is what it's going to be,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and it's not going to work out. And by year's end, they're going to be hemorrhaging so much that the sunk cost fallacy will finally be bypassed, and they're just going to dissolve it.
Hmm.
Um, the only upside of that is that Athena finally gets back on the AEW main roster.
Hopefully,
But yeah,
she should have
um,
been back on there. Honestly.
long time ago. You
Hmm.
kidding me? But yeah, I hate to doom and gloom it, and it is kind of a bold prediction, but I think that the without getting on like a real television station and honestly improving the ROH product by a lot and giving it its own distinct identity away from AEW instead of just being AEW light, I
Hmm.
don't foresee it lasting too much longer because they're already going making. I mean, granted, they're going to be profitable. AEW will be profitable for the next 4 to 5 years because of the deal that they signed,
Hmm.
but they're already suffering from image problems, fabricated or no. They're
Hmm.
already changing the arenas that they go to compensate. They had to pivot in Australia for the Grand Slam show because ticket sales weren't there.
Hmm.
And Ring of Honor is no AEW. I think by year's end they're going to have to call it, and they're just it's going to be like a doctor pulling the plug at that point, like because there's just no resuscitating it. And I hate that because I'm not going to lie and say like I followed Ring of Honor religiously or anything. I did. There were I went in and out as I had availability to the product.
Hmm.
Um, but I followed not closely, but I followed it enough to know a thing or two about a thing or two.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like it's gonna be sad when it happens because that was it emerged from the ashes of WCW to carve a new way for people to thrive on the indie scene in the
Hmm.
face of a mostly monopoly when WWF won the Monday Night War. So to see it fall the way of the dodo after so many times where we thought TNA was dead and buried when it came out around the same time, the idea that ROH would die first is not a thought I relish, but I think
Hmm.
it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think
Um,
it's going to happen this coming year.
Best case scenario in my head, they have bundled it with the Max deal and just haven't
Oh,
told
here's
us yet.
hoping. I just haven't heard
Um,
any scuttlebutt to suggest one or the other.
yeah. Now, in my mind, if I was Tony, since he owns the place,
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, I would make it a full-on NXT for AEW. I would
Yeah.
take that Rampage slot, whatever the Rampage slot is that they're getting, that they're gonna, into whatever they're turning it
Turn to
into, because
Shockwave or
Rampage is
whatever.
Shockwave or what, that would be ROH. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, give that hour to ROH. You started doing big stuff on Rampage at the end of the year. Rampage is gonna be dead in 2 weeks. Half the stuff you're doing on Rampage is inconsequential because the show we know the show is gonna be gone. Um, let,
Well, the one had nothing but Continental Classic matches.
yeah, I mean we understand that,
That's
but
of consequence.
like let's just let's give that hour to ROH. Do you want it
Yeah,
to
it
work?
is,
Do the
it
same
is
thing
proof.
NXT does. Give them an hour
Yeah,
a week, man.
to your point, it is proof that if they wanted to, they could focus energy effectively into that time slot.
They could. They could. So I mean, best case scenario, they're bundled in with the Max. I would kill to be able to get Dynamite and Collision and ROH on Max because I already subscribed to Max. So like,
Yeah.
I'm still not really keen on the additional fee required for the pay-per-views
Mm.
because I'm already paying, like, I mean, I paid WWE $10 a month. Why can't AEW do the same thing? I don't understand the cost
Yeah, depending on
analysis of
how much
that.
it is, I may still use Triller
Yeah, I may
and
still,
a,
yeah,
and
I
a
may still use
VPN.
another service for that, like YouTube or something. But I already subscribed to Max, so I'm gonna be able to watch that shit live
Yeah,
and be able to actually watch it live and not have to go back and watch Triller later or BR later or whatever.
yeah,
Um, but also, I mean, it's unless Triller has a way better price on the pay-per-view, it's gonna allow me to cut like two subscriptions out. But also, I mean, just put ROH on there. I mean, there is no way you don't have the negotiating power to be like, hey, we're going to give you a library of 30 or 40,000 hours of wrestling that people love,
mhm,
and we're going to give you an extra hour of a week. Do it on, you know what? Don't even charge them anymore. Just be like, hey, along with this awesome deal you did with us for AEW, we're going to give you a whole nother promotion with an
yeah,
extra hour of TV every week and 30 or 40,000 hours of well loved, well watched, backstory stuff that people will literally subscribe to your service just to have it. If Honor Club got folded into Max, I'd be watching the shit out of Honor Club.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's
It's simple.
I would love for that too. Since I already have access to Max, I would like. It's like, huh.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine if people watching Dynamite on Max were being informed about the backstory of one of their storylines, which some people complain about. I don't
Yeah.
know why people complain about there being backstory, but like,
But there it is.
I mean, maybe because they didn't see it or whatever, but that they could pause that program in progress, go elsewhere on Max to find exactly what match they were referring to, watch that match, get the context, and then go back to watching Dynamite and say, okay, I understand this better now.
You could make nerd
Instead of,
wrestling heaven that way, dude. Just
yeah,
oh, but yeah. I mean,
it would be
it
great.
sucks that I would that ROH might come to an end, but I mean, I see it happening. Maybe. I mean, it's
Yeah.
possible.
All right. Third one.
Yeah, third one.
Go.
Okay. You know what? I want to go Wilder, but at the same time, I think this one because I think one, I think it's actually going to happen, and
Mm,
two, I think the news lines and the wrestling world, the IWC is going to break for a few days as a result, and people are just going to be shooting out the wildest takes they got. I believe that the TNA WWE deal is going to crash in flames this year because it is, by all accounts and by everything I've seen, and I am not the only person that has said this, it's a one-sided deal in WWE's favor, and TNA can only go so long being slow played into a territory buyout, basically. Because what's happening is WWE is bringing their main talents like Hendry and Jordan Grace over to WWE TV. They're not really sending anybody of equal stature back to TNA to be on their programming. And now, when contracts are running out, like Jordan Grace's, they're not re signing because they're going to go over to WWE, which basically makes this a Vince territory style buyout. They're just slow burning it and making it pretty for everybody.
yeah.
So, what do I think is going to happen? I think eventually, at some point during 2025, TNA is going to fully realize that this is happening. I expect a shareholder or someone on the earnings call or something like that to be like, hey, what the fuck? Or somebody's going to bring it to their attention. It's going to get investigated. They're going to realize that this is a one-sided deal, and it's not going to end well. It's going to
Mm,
be VKM type shit on TNA TV because that's what they do, and WWE's never going to mention them again.
yeah.
When Joe
No,
Hendry and Jordan Grace do finally become part of the WWE roster, they'll never mention where they came from.
no, no. Yeah, I could see that definitely
It
happening.
could spell the death of TNA if they break contract with WWE and do it in such a way that it's negligible or whatever. But um, I wholly see this coming to a flaming fucking end.
Yeah, they'll get their Royal Rumble pop. They'll sign the couple of guys, and then they'll probably be like, okay, yeah, we got no more use for you because that's what WWE does historically. Like that's just what they've done.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can't imagine like the the position that puts people in TNA, wrestlers in TNA, because you've got people like Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry who are benefiting from this relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and there is more exposure in WWE, and there is more money to be made in WWE. But at the same time, those people do have pretty good reputations as decent people for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
How do you reconcile that with what's clearly going on? Like, if I was in their shoes, I would be like, okay, I don't know if I really like how this is going down. Like, I don't know if I feel comfortable contributing to this thing simply because I want my career to be, you know, in a better spot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there are people around me who are affected by this. That's just me. Okay, I'm not casting aspersions or judgments. I'm just saying it must be very difficult to make those personal decisions that only those people themselves can make for themselves and their families. So, but still, yeah, I mean, I agree the situation sucks
Yeah.
for TNA. But
Yeah, it doesn't for TNA.
if if there's one thing I know about TNA is that it's that cockroach that will not die. I
Oh
don't think they'll
God,
die as a result of it.
they just
Like
won't.
nothing can kill TNA.
No.
We've thought it was death warmed over, at least half a dozen times now from various
Yeah.
things.
In what, 20 years now or something like
Jeez,
that?
jeez Louise. Like I
Oh,
can't. It won't be fine, but it'll survive
yeah.
at least into 2026.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick for my last prediction, I believe that Vince McMahon will not live to see the end of the Janelle Grant trial. I
Oh.
think that the workout freak that he is, that it's amazing that he's lived to be as long as it is because he's overworked his heart.
Hmm.
Between all the stress he has put it on himself, both physically, with not sleeping, going all over the country, this that into an advanced age. I feel, and just because the way the world seems to work now, we will not see justice. We will see in the middle of the trial sometime this year. I believe Vince McMahon, maybe even spitefully, on purpose, his body will be like, you know what? I would rather die than give this woman what, the justice that she deserves. And I think he's going to pass. And Janelle Grant will never know satisfaction because I hate to end on a downer, guys, but like I see the way the world works. I see the patterns. Like
Hmm.
I don't justice happens so rarely, and I see it foresee it happening this year because it would just be too perfect if he actually lived to see justice. And that trial will take place this year,
Yeah.
or this coming year rather. So
Hmm.
I mean they restarted it, now that the federal stay has passed so that
Hmm.
they could investigate for the FBI. I don't think either one of those cases is going to see the justice they deserve. I think Vince McMahon is going to die and that he is going to escape proper charges and justice for his actions. And it will be a sad day for the wrestling industry, not because the man has died, but because he never, ever was held to account for his awful, despicable actions.
Yeah. And it sucks that if that happens, I'm really hoping he lives to see justice. Maybe dies his first day in prison or something. Which I don't. Maybe he won't go to prison because of his advanced age. But I mean, I
I
hope he
mean,
gets
it'll definitely be
justice.
a white
But
collar prison.
I definitely, I definitely see him dying soon. Just because, I mean, what does he have to live for anymore? To be
He
perfectly honest, I mean,
lived
a
for the
man
work and
that
now he can't
driven with
work.
nothing to drive him,
Yeah.
he'll die.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what I would be like if I like,
He
because I
was
mean, I
going
want,
on momentum,
yeah, I want to
basically.
retire, but I'm not ready for it yet. You know, if I
Yeah.
had to retire right now, yeah, I might not be long for this world because I have no purpose.
Yeah.
You know, so honestly though, I feel nothing bad for the man. So if he does die, the only person I'll feel bad for is Janelle Grant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know, you
I
know,
hope I'm wrong, for the
I hope
record.
you're
I hope
wrong as
I'm
far as the
wrong.
justice is concerned, but as far as him dying, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah. No, I want
Uh,
justice. I'm
but
very
yeah,
into fairness.
yeah,
Very into fairness.
heck yeah.
But
But yeah, that was it for the week for us for guys. We appreciate you being with us. Thank you for joining us for season one. We will be back on January 6th, the very first day of Raw on Netflix, and the very first Monday of the new year, with our season two debut. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for supporting us. Hit us up on the socials in the meantime. We will be there internally online answering questions and having lots of fun with you guys on Blue Sky. And just remember, we love you. You have value, and we will see you next season.
happy holidays, guys. Love you. Thank you so much.